Alrighty, guys. Good morning to you all here. A happy Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. And we are starting out the morning here with showers and thunderstorms, even some severe weather up into far northern Minnesota. This is kind of round one of our severe weather that's going to be moving through later on this morning. We'll have another round of storms later on this afternoon with damaging winds, large hail, and a couple of tornadoes. A widespread 2% tornado risk today for portions of the upper Midwest and high plains. So we'll be in live coverage mode for that later on this afternoon. I do apologize for not being on last night for you guys. We had a lot of stuff going on around the house last night with the kiddos, all that stuff. Just a busy day yesterday. So we will be on. I'll actually have two live streams today. I'll plan on doing one this morning, and I plan on doing one this afternoon for coverage. So we're going to start kind of getting these videos out a little bit earlier to you guys. I want to start having morning time live streams with you guys to get you guys walked out the door and know what's going to be going on with your weather here. We've also got some cluster of storms going on back down here into portions of Nebraska. Most of those are sub-severe and a lot of rain working its way, tropical rain I should say here, moving its way into Florida here with some special marine warnings attached to it, some water spouts potentially offshore there. Heavy rain will be a story in Florida as well as this tropical system, or I wouldn't even really say tropical system, this upper level low kind of hangs off the coast here of Florida here, and eventually it'll move into the Gulf where we'll see this maybe move towards Texas next week or bringing a little bit of showers and thunderstorms. Not anything tropical expected as of right now. Some of the models, some of the ensembles are showing a small chance of a system developing somewhere in the Gulf next week or at the end of this week into next week, but I just don't really see that happening right now. Just the same situation as we saw with 93L last week. So we'll watch it. We'll see what happens. If something were to change, we'll let you guys know. If NHC does something, we'll let you guys know. I just don't see as of right now too much of an issue other than the flooding threat with those training storms that are going to be ongoing across Florida. One more thing I do want to mention here. It's back over here into the tropics. We did lose our tropical area that we were watching. The National Hurricane Center had a 10% to 20% chance of a system over here developing yesterday. They did get rid of that just due to Saharan dust. It's going to be overlapping this as well as a lot of strong wind shear that's going to basically rip this system apart. Now, there is a couple more waves that we're watching here. I want to move off to the coast of Africa here for just a second here. You can see some more tropical waves. There's a wave right here. The second wave may not be too much of an issue. This is the wave that I'm watching right here, and it looks like one big wave, but there's actually two here. If this can get going towards the first week of August, which is going to take some time to kind of move across the Atlantic here, we may start to lose that Saharan dust, which would not be good in form of a tropical system trying to develop. And then we would start to see our shear potentially, or MJO change a little bit here, our shear change as well going into the first 2 weeks of August. So something we're going to watch very closely as these waves do come off the coast of Africa as we get closer to hurricane season. We'll keep you guys updated if anything changes, if any outlooks are issued, anything like that. But I just wanted to give you guys an update on that I am watching that just to keep you guys in the know of what could be happening as we advance into the month of August here very soon. Let's go ahead and break down that Storm Prediction Center forecast here for today. And like I said, the Storm Prediction Center does have two areas to watch today. We do have a marginal risk zone for wind back down here into the southeast. This includes Tallahassee, Jacksonville, up towards Savannah, Charleston, Columbia, Atlanta, Georgia. You have about a 5% chance of seeing 60-mile-per-hour winds this afternoon, maybe up to 1-inch diameter hail. This is going to be our main risk zone for today, and the Storm Prediction Center may upgrade to a level 3 enhanced risk for damaging winds somewhere in this catty corner here. We'll see what happens on the next update this morning as well as this afternoon. But regardless of that, we do have a damaging wind threat for winds could exceed 75 miles per hour. We actually had a destructive 80-mile-an-hour severe thunderstorm warning last night in Wichita, Kansas, off a marginal risk / slight risk where an outflow boundary ended up getting itself together. So those outflow boundaries can typically produce some pretty significant wind gusts if they do in fact get going, where storms can form off outflow boundaries, all that stuff, all the basic meteorology that goes into storms forming. So that was a very interesting thing to see last night. We shouldn't see anything like that in Wichita today, but be weather aware. Whether you're in a marginal risk, a slight risk, or all the way up to a higher end risk zone, you can always see storms overperform. They're not consolidated to those risk zones as people sometimes think. So just because you're in a marginal doesn't mean you're just going to see 60-mile-per-hour winds. There's always that shot that you could see something over or under that performance level. So something to just make note of there. Like I said, slight risk here that goes from eastern Montana, northern portions of Wyoming, back up into South Dakota, North Dakota, and Minnesota. This is mostly going to be a late evening overnight event. Again, like I said, we'll be on later on this afternoon as soon as these storms get ready to initiate. We'll be covering this through much of the evening tonight. The tornado risk today is actually pretty widespread, and I wouldn't be shocked to see a small 5% tornado risk get issued for maybe Minnesota and the Dakotas later on this afternoon as well. If supercells become more apparent, those discrete cells that typically can produce a higher chance of seeing a tornado, something that I'm watching very closely as well. But a big 2% tornado risk that once again goes from Billings, Montana, Montana, and Sheridan, Wyoming, all the way down to Des Moines, Iowa, and then back up into Minneapolis, Minnesota, western Wisconsin. So most of the state of Minnesota is in some type of tornado risk for today. It's a low-end risk, but you need to be weather aware because tornadoes probably will end up happening today at some point. Whether they're warnings or a radar indicator observed, there probably will be some warnings out today for this. We are also watching the wind threat for today as well. We do have a hatched wind threat here anywhere from eastern Montana, northern portions of Wyoming, back into South Dakota and North Dakota. I wouldn't be shocked to see that get extended as well and maybe even upgraded to an enhanced risk. We do have the threat for winds up to 75 miles per hour, if not over that, there in that hatched region. Outside of that there, everybody has a shot at seeing winds up to 70 miles per hour, maybe an 80 being not ruled out completely. 5% wind threat down into the southeast as well. We also have a hail threat today, a hatched hail threat. Again, we could see hail exceed 2 inches in diameter back again here into eastern Montana, up towards the northern portions of Wyoming, southern South Dakota here, and southern North Dakota and northern portions of South Dakota here. I had to flip-flop them for a second. And then we've also got a 5% and 15% outside that hatch for hail up to 1 to 2 inches in diameter. So we'll be watching this very closely today. A little bit of an interesting day, lots of extreme instability out there. We'll have enough shear out there to get things going as well. It just depends on our storm mode and how things evolve later on this afternoon. So be weather aware, know how to go when you get warnings, and have alerts on your phones for today. We'll be live covering this event later on this afternoon for you guys. We do once again have another risk zone for tomorrow for your Wednesday, a marginal risk that extends from Wyoming back down to Denver, Colorado. This is going to be for wind and hail, and then another marginal and slight risk again that extends from Iowa and Nebraska back up through Minneapolis, Minnesota, and up into UP, Michigan. We'll also have a smaller tornado risk tomorrow as well. There is a 2% tornado risk at play for tomorrow. Minneapolis, Minnesota, just east up into Marquette, UP, Michigan, and into northern Wisconsin. Wind threat at 15 to 5% for winds up to 70 miles per hour tomorrow, and the hail threat is at 5%. So tomorrow a little bit lower of a day. We'll see what SPC does with their update as well today. We'll start to see that general thunderstorm risk kind of exit the picture here. Other than tropical downpours down in the southeast, most of the Ohio River Valley, the northeast, and southern plains will be locked in a ridge where our extreme heat will be at play, and we'll talk about what that's going to look like here in just a minute again as well. Another thing we'll be watching here, the day 3 outlook, there is another marginal risk for severe weather again back up into the Great Lakes here up into the high Midwest area from eastern portions of Iowa back up into Michigan. This is for wind and hail. Maybe a brief isolated tornado can't be ruled out on Thursday here. We'll keep you guys updated with that. And if anything changes like that, we'll have that in a future video for tomorrow as well as in a stream this afternoon. One more thing I am watching, we are going to be starting to see a big pattern change next week going into the first week of August. Some of the models are simulating a pretty decent shot at seeing some severe weather return, maybe some more significant severe weather. We'll keep you guys updated on that. We'll kind of look what the global pattern is showing with that here in just a second as well, but I wanted to give you guys an update. We probably will also see the GFS model is doing some wild things as well. Over 200 hours out, it's trying to pull a cold air trough down that's going to basically drop temperatures down about 20 degrees from what they are now. So that would be nice to have after a heat wave, but we'll monitor that and see if that in fact continues to trend or not. We'll see if the European picks up on it. Some of the other models, the ensembles pick up on it as well. So just wanted to kind of give you guys an update on that. Here's a rough estimate of what we could see with our storms today. We do have a cluster of storms that are ongoing across the Minnesota, North Dakota area this morning. Those will clear out. Those will kind of leave an outflow boundary in place here, and then we'll see those supercells initiate probably not until around 9 p.m. Central Time, 10 o'clock tonight. So it's going to be another late night where storms don't initiate until probably closer to, the overnight hours. We'll see a string potentially of supercells maybe ringing it out, firing off here, I should say, up into northern portions of North Dakota, central North Dakota here. Some more cells back down here into South Dakota here. Like I said, these will have an initial tornado hail threat and then a damaging wind threat as well. And then these storms after midnight will start to kind of grow upscale, and depending on how severe the model's uptick with this depends on the wind threat increasing to the north or to the east or what. There will be a wind threat overnight tonight. This is around 3-4 o'clock in the morning. We'll be seeing these cluster of storms move through North Dakota and northern Minnesota. You can kind of see there's a risk zone down here, but there's not a lot of storms, so maybe a little bit of a capping just depending on how our atmosphere rejuvenates or recovers this morning here from this morning storms. So we'll kind of see how that goes. It does look to be a line of storms will be moving through northern and central Minnesota by early tomorrow morning around sunrise, and then we'll see another cluster of storms get going across Minnesota, Wisconsin, and then we'll kind of do it again where we actually could see a couple supercells fire off tomorrow afternoon again. So the next 2 days is going to be an interesting sequence of events down here into the Midwest and the upper high plains here. We'll be watching for all modes of severe weather. We'll also have to watch for that flooding threat. Flooding can be an issue when you have lots of storms over a long duration of time. You guys know that, so be mindful of those creeks, streams, and rivers. One more thing I will show you guys is the tornado parameters for this evening. So they're not super high, but if a storm were to become discrete, stay discrete, cluster, or become a kind of QLCS in a line of storms, we could see that tornado threat ramp up, especially through the evening hours here. Wouldn't be shocked to see a couple tornadoes today, and then that'll kind of weaken as we get into the overnight hours, and then again we'll see a lower chance for tornadoes across Wisconsin, UP, Michigan tomorrow. So we'll kind of see how that unfolds. I don't think we're going to see, like I said, a big tornado day or any of that. It could be more than likely an isolated event, so we'll be looking at more of a damaging wind and a hail threat than anything else. One more thing I will show you guys as well, the instability values for today. You can see that instability recovering later on this afternoon. It does look to be we will have instability by later on this evening, so ample energy in the atmosphere for storms to fire off, and so that won't be an issue here. And then those storms, like I said, will reinitiate along a boundary again tomorrow, and then we'll see that system clear its way out. I know I said I got one more thing for you guys, but I do want to show you guys one more thing here. It says dew points. That corn sweat belt is really helping these dew points increase. So later on this afternoon, we'll be seeing dew points push in the mid to upper 70s here. Plentiful moisture over top of our ridge here, allowing for severe weather to fire off as well. So all of our check boxes that we look for severe weather are on the table here. It's just, are things going to organize and allow that to happen? And I think they will. It'll be mostly in the form of damaging winds, large hail, and then we'll have the threat for a couple of tornadoes today and for tomorrow. So we'll keep you guys updated on that as well. We'll have a live stream this morning later, and we'll have a live stream later on tonight covering this event. One more thing I will show you guys is going to be our upper level pattern here, and you can see a kind of a zonal / meridional wavy jet stream here. High pressure down here in the central plains getting going here. We'll be moving into the Ohio Valley by tomorrow, allowing for that death ridge to set up, is what I like to call it this time of the year. Won't last that long, but enough to cause some really bad heat index problems, I should say. As we go through the middle of the week here, we'll start to see potentially that tropical system, whatever you want to call it, down here in the Gulf, a low try to develop here. It'll be moving towards Texas, Louisiana, bringing some showers and thunderstorms. Not anything too significant in the form of flooding down there. We'll watch that for you guys. If anything changes, we'll let you guys know. We'll see more shear enter the picture both on Thursday and Friday. I do think more of a damaging wind threat could set up across the Great Lakes here, as well as Minnesota, Wisconsin on Thursday and Friday. So we'll keep you guys updated on that. Then I want you guys to see something. As we go towards the weekend here, we're going to see another trough, a weaker trough try to develop across the plains here. It doesn't look too significant as of now, the high pressure shifting back to the west by Sunday, but as we go towards next week, as that first week of August approaches, ridging, and then that ridge looks to shift a little further west, and this is where we start to see that zonal flow again over top of the Midwest, the lower Ohio Valley, and this is where I really start to get concerned. I've been talking about this for a couple days now, for maybe a derecho setup, a couple MCSs. This is where we get those big line segments that develop through that zonal flow. That northwesterly to southeasterly flowing winds is typically where that happens at. And so, this is not a slam dunk yet. This is still about a week and a half out. We're going to keep you guys updated on this big trough up in Canada, allowing for probably some cooler air loft up there to get going as well. So just a big pattern change, I think, as we go towards next week as well, after this heat ridge kind of gets its way through. And then it looks to be potentially, this is, over 200 hours out. We're going to take this with a grain of salt, but I always like to show just a kind of a glimpse of what we could be seeing in the future toward the month of August here. But it does look to be maybe a colder shot of air tries to get itself going, a really wonky pattern getting going here as we go towards the month of August. So some things to look at, some things to check out, some things to kind of look at with our ensembles, as well as not just our dermatistic model runs. We'll keep you guys updated on that, but just a lot of weather pattern changes coming, a lot of probably severe weather. We'll have the heat, we'll probably have some cold air masses maybe coming down as well, not cold, but cooler, below average trends coming down over the next couple of days, or really the next couple of weeks as well. So just something to kind of keep the mindset on there. One more thing I will show you guys before we wrap the video up for today is going to be the rainfall totals through the next 7 to 10 days. I always like to show this so people know what's going to be happening rainfall wise, and where we typically will see that heaviest of rainfall through the end of the month is going to be down here along the Gulf. About 3 to 5 inches of rain could fall, with some higher totals of 5 maybe to 8, maybe 10 inches of rainfall for potentially down to spots of Florida, maybe the southern Mississippi, Alabama area there. And then we see a higher concentration of rainfall up through the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, and the high plains, with it looks to be 1 to 3, or not 1 to 3, but 3 to 5 inches of rainfall over the next 7 to 5 days here. So not significant flooding, but we've had a lot of rain in these areas, so flash flooding could still be a big problem with the ground being saturated. Even though the hot temperatures are going to be out, it's not just going to zap the moisture in the ground. So you got to have a couple weeks worth of that to allow that moisture to kind of dry up. So something to make note of there. We'll keep you guys updated on that. I'll have a live stream later on this morning once I get these videos posted, and then we'll have live stream coverage this afternoon for you guys. Want to get some questions answered, get some information out there to you guys. As always, I do appreciate y'all. Tap that like button on the video, comment if you guys have any questions, and we will see you guys in the next one. Be safe, y'all.